Good buddy creedmoorfury coming to you from East of Eden Grower's Place, his happy place right here in his Back to Eden garden, Piedmont, North Carolina. Join me today for today's episode. I'm going to teach you something different, something new, and hopefully something that's going to do you lots of good. Is ready. It's showing 30 minutes of cooling, and I can press that little button right there on the back and allow the remainder of the steam to come out. Once the steam is completely out of the pressure pot, it's safe to open up. All right, so here we go. We let the pressure out. It's been cooling off. I actually left it overnight so it could complete cooling off, and I make the separation process easier. And I'm basically just going to take the liquid and the bones and place them into a colander. Place that colander itself over the top of a pail, and we're going to go ahead and separate the two. All right, so here you can see I've got a 4.5 gallon pail. The pan is removable from the pressure cooker, and all I'm going to do is take my time, pour that through. I can actually pull out a bone, just like this. Watch, I'll break it. See how easy that broke? Just crush it in my hands like that. That's what we want. That's how you know you got the bones right. So we're going to go ahead and go a little bit further. At this point, it's been cooked under pressure. And since it's been cooked under pressure, it's pretty much sterile. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take this outside, and I'm going to actually rinse this off to get the slimy stuff off. All right, so there you can see it draining inside that pail, sitting in the colander. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and take it outside, and I'm going to run some clean, chlorine-free water through it to rinse it off as best as I can. I don't want any of that little bit of slimy stuff that you can see there on my hands on it. I get it roughly as clean as I can. The liquid that's remaining, I'm going to use for my composting. All right, we're outside now. I'm just going to give this a good little rinse. Okay, once it's looking good, you're good to go. You can take it to the next step. When it's completely rinsed, you can remove the colander, and you'll see basically all of that is whatever was left over, some animal fats, maybe some proteins, whatever didn't come off of the bones initially, now they're pretty much polished clean, and I'm going to send that to the compost pile. I don't have to worry about there being anything bad in it. I don't have to worry about any animals coming and digging for it. It's going to soak right into the wood chips, and it's going to start to break things down for us. Okay, so here you can see we've got the bones. They're cleaned off, pretty well rinsed. They're not really sliming anymore. They break really easy. And what we're going to do We're going to break them down just a little bit by hand, just a little bit to make it a little easier. Then we're going to turn them over, and I've got a food-safe drying pan here. We're going to put them all on the food-safe drying pan and spread them out. If you happen to have an area where you don't have dogs or cats or other animals visiting, you can actually dry these out under the sun. And that I found to be pretty much the fastest way to do it. If you have an area inside, you're better off because there's not going to be nearly as much environmental contamination blowing around indoors as there, well, maybe that's not true. But in most cases, you can just take this pile just like this. I spread them out inside the tray, and then I'll just run some air over the top. You know, you can see how simple they break, how easy it is. Some of them, the thicker ones right there, still got some marrow and stuff in them. That's okay. Still some marrow in there too. This is all good. We want this to convey to the garden. Yes, we do. And anything that doesn't break up, it'll still break up. These little grinders are powerful. You can use a food processor as well. There you have it. We're going to get this good and dry. Take it on to the next step. Check it out. Here you can see we've been doing some of the grinding already. I did let a lot of the bones dry a bit before grinding, because if you try to grind them when they're wet, it just makes a muddy, wet, yucky paste, kind of worse than this, you know, with moisture dripping out of it. So I give them an overnight session to dry with a little fan blowing on them, and then we come back out here and we give it a shot. We try to grind them then. Now, if it turns out that they're still too wet, I'll wait another day. It's pretty simple. There's the results of the first grind right here today, and it's already beginning to look really, really good. So if this hadn't had the opportunity to dry a little bit, it would look a lot more clumpy like this. And we're going to go ahead and mix it right in with the rest of it and keep right on going. Y'all can see the little blade right there. It's not very sharp because, you know, we use it for this. We're just going to take what's on the table here and put it in. And we set that right there onto this little grinder, making sure that it's completely interlocked, and line up the locking mechanism and give it a push. Sometimes you get a little bit left like this that doesn't grind all the way. You can run it for another session. It looks pretty good. It's a nice little blend right there. As it dries out, it'll lighten in color. It will actually turn a little bit whiter. We use a little scraper tool and a brush on the end to complete the task. And once again, you know what I can say about this is, you want to tag your container with the birth date of this stuff right here. It's not that it's going to get old and stop working, but if you make several batches, typically what we like to do is use the oldest batches first. Okay, so it's just for organization. I mean, I know people rotate their stock as it is, so this is nothing new to most of you. But it is a practice that we like to engage in because it's healthier and it allows us to use the oldest stock first. All right, folks, so there you have it. Here it is, your quick 101 on how to make bone meal. And what can I say about this? I want to give you a quick wrap up. There's things that you can do to get better bone meal, in particular from organic stock, from organically raised, humanely raised, chemical-free, antibiotic-free, preferably inoculation-free animals. If you can find that, that's what you want to use. In the case of most homesteaders, you're raising your own chickens, you may be raising your own sheep, you may be raising your own goats. No telling. We've got goats over here, we're getting chickens over there, there's all kinds of stuff going on. And when you know the provenance and you understand where those animals have been, it's simple. You're just going to get a better quality product. When you buy this stuff in a commercial format, you have no idea where it came from. You don't know if it came from you know, a cow in the upper Midwest that might have been subjected to copious amounts of PFAS, you don't know. That stuff could be in the bones. It certainly is in the meat, so it's in the muscles and the fat, so there's no reason to believe that it wouldn't be in the bones. And really what I'm suggesting is that you really want to give this the seal of purity, because if you can, it's going to treat your plants better than anything else on the market. We've talked about how we use these things on legumes. Pretty much all plants will appreciate it. But one of the only reason I use it on my legumes is because, well, legumes don't want you to be putting things that have a bunch of nitrogen on them, since they fix their own nitrogen with the rhizobia bacteria at their feet. You know, we like to just let them work the way Mother Nature evolved them to work. For other plants like strawberries and the ground fruits, you can also give them a side dressing, a light dusting of these things, maybe water it into your compost, or water it into your wood chips, whatever your setup is. If you're doing soil pockets, you can sprinkle a little bit of the stuff right into the soil pocket before you drop your plant in. If you're going to do that, also check out my video on how to inoculate with arbruscal mycorrhizal fungi for some of your plants, and you know, you're going to see exactly how we do it. When the hole is open, when the root is open, we're going to sprinkle that stuff down in there in the hole, and we're going to plant that thing in there. We're going to water and hydrate it right away. So they're good combinations. You know, once you get the fungi acting on your behalf for the plants that they support, if you're giving this phosphorus and calcium to them, well, you know, fungi typically creates the acids to break these things down anyway. And you put the stuff right down there where all the roots are, and I can promise you, it's not going to burn anything. If you're making it yourself, you're never going to put more down than you need, because you're going to be taking somewhat of a conservative approach so that you can manage all of your plant life. And as I said before, it doesn't go bad. You know, keep it dry, keep it in a sealed container, keep it out of sunlight, keep it away from your dogs and your cats. If I put this on the ground next to my dog, Riker, he would probably start to eat this stuff. So actually, I'm looking outside right now, and he's looking at me. He wants to see me put this down, and then he's going to have at it. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and let this continue to dry, because I want it to be a powder. If it needs any further powderizing after that, I might take it and put it right back into the processor and give it another little run. If not, if it's clumpy, it's fine. You can use it just like that. Typically, I don't use it if it has some big, gigantic bones in there, because I don't want the animals that are out there. I don't want the critters that are out there to go ahead and decide that what they want to do is dig up my plants to gain access to the bone meal that's in the ground. Hopefully that makes sense. As a third and final option, bone meal is great to be entered into your composts and your aerobic compost teas, because if it feeds the microbes in the soil, it will feed the microbes that came from the compost and entered your compost teas. A quality compost tea is a reflection of the compost that it was made with. So the better the compost is, the better the compost tea is. Makes sense? So I'm going to go ahead and bid all y'all an adieu and say goodbye. And if you haven't done so already, please, this is that moment where I ask you to go ahead and click the like thingy, subscribe thingy, share thingy. Keep doing, keep being, keep living. God bless. Peace.